Okay, this is just a quick view of some of the things that I use on my powder coating. I do have the Craftsman guns, and you'll notice that my thumb is showing where I use some Gorilla Glue tape because this handle area is really weak on this gun. This particular gun has a cup at the bottom of it here, and that cup is sometimes difficult. Here's one. I have a couple of them so that I use them so I can change them out without having to keep blowing out the original one to change colors. At the right, you see that there's a round section there. That is often really difficult to lock into place, and I found that this little strap wrench here works really well to secure it and lock it down in place. I do use a mask. I also use glasses whenever I'm doing this. I don't know that this will show very well because of the darkness in my booth, but you'll see that I did powder coat this red ring. I'm going to powder coat this other one where the amp meter goes on this dash panel. I don't know if you can see up here, but there's one of the rings ready to go. And you'll also see that I have a hook that protrudes on up through the top of this box, cardboard box, and it has the grounding wire that goes and leads right down to the gun itself. This grounding wire has to be on there and make contact, and your hook here also has to have that electrical charge that'll pass through it when you're powder coating something. So one thing that you don't want to do, and here's some examples of screw-ups, is to coat the hanger that you're using. And that can happen very easily when you're spraying the powder in there. And what I find to prevent that is simply just slather on a little bit of Vaseline, then wipe it off. And when you shoot it, that won't allow the powder coating to stick on your hanger. And therefore you can reuse it. But you want to be sure to make sure that that hanger that's inside the box connects on this and allows a charge to go through it. This box is simply a clothing box that I just cut out one side from a move that we made here. And I've taken a rod here. This is actually it's a 10-foot grounding rod that I cut down and just put through the box itself. I was going to use this for my bus bar or this part here, but I found that I like this better. Right now I just use this rod just to hang extra hooks on. And what I do with these hooks, I go to Home Depot and you can buy 4 or 5 foot for almost nothing of copper wire, and I use a thick gauge copper wire so I can clip however many hooks I want to make, clip them off and bend them and hang them up here ready to use. And like say, if you don't accidentally coat these, then you can reuse them as much as you want. But once you do coat them, the only way to get that powder coating off there is really to sandblast them. And this is the other cup that's filled with red. This red matches the red on my wheels, and it's Home Depot brand, which is about $5 for a little container of that. Now the little packages that come in dog treats and all that prevent moisture, those are real handy to put in there to keep the powder from clumping with moisture. Now down here you'll see that there's a lot of powder on the floor or whatever. That blows right away and it's easy to clean up. I just haven't cleaned this up. Now this oven, I don't particularly like it, but I got it for about $7 at a Goodwill store. And what I did to make it useful for my powder coating is I drilled a hole on each side and inserted a copper tube here. and therefore I can simply hang on my parts once they're done and let the oven cook them. The problem with this one is that none of these dials have any markings left on them. They've been worn off, so I had to experiment a bit with trying to get them. Each one of the powder coating, let me go in here and show you. The powder coating paint itself at Harbor Freight comes in these kind of jugs, and that's quite a bit. You won't, if you're just doing small parts like I do, you'll find that that's more than enough. You can buy it elsewhere on eBay or whatever, but you want to always read the instructions on it and see what the temp pardon me, excuse me, what the temp actually is to it. And you want to find out how long you need to cook the part or cure the part. This gun here is very cheaply made, and I can see why Sears did away with them. However, you can buy them on eBay for maybe as much as $60 for a complete one. I happened to get one by accident that was for parts only, and I did repair it, and they both work for me. I like these because they don't require a air compressor. The Eastwood and the Harbor Freight ones do, and I can't say that their quality is any better than what these are, but nonetheless, I got a couple of these guns, and for the little parts that I do, I find it's fun, entertaining. I do screw up at times, and I've learned from that on them. This particular oven cuts back on once you shut the door to it. And I had a second one here that was even cheaper. I find these things at Goodwill stores for almost nothing. So the box here costs nothing, and although you'll see it in here, it's full of red powder coating. I can take that outside and use my blowgun on my air compressor and get rid of all of that, clean it right up. The grounding plug on this, I just hook on, and I just made this little device here to hold my hooks on the inside of the box with. The problem with grounding wires, and this is true for Eastwood or any other powder coater gun, is that it's wires, and wires have a tendency to get in the way, and they can become trip hazards. And I have knocked one of these guns over before, so when I get through with them, as a habit, I just didn't have it done for this. I do set them inside there so that they get knocked over. They're not going to do anything bad. This is the instrument panel from my Model A. It was nickel plated, but it's too costly to redo that. And this is a daily driver, so I just did it in the black. The Harbor Freight black happens to be a matte color, but I have, since I did that, picked up some mirror black, which is a Sherwin-Williams powder coat. Excuse me. Sherwin-Williams products are not sold in the stores, I don't believe. At least here locally, they're not. You have to order them. I just got mine off eBay. Pardon the messy garage and the messy desk area here, but generally this is all that's required. Most of the powder coating I've used, the temperature on it is usually set at 400. It can be less than that. You have to read the instructions. But once the part is flashed, and let's just use this as an example only, if you were coating this hanger inside there, it will turn from kind of a dull red to a more glossy red as it sits there. And once that gloss starts to liquefy, that's when you'll start timing approximately 25 minutes afterwards. So if you cook it at say 400, you would wait for it to flash, and then you would go ahead and set the thing for 25 minutes there. Now with the red, I believe that it's like 350 or so for 15 minutes, but you always have to look at the instructions and follow that. You can mess up. It's easy to mess up. But even if you do mess up, and I'm just showing you the box here, even if you do, it's really easy to go back and recoat them. Now sometimes you can take a part, put it in the oven and preheat it. Be careful taking it out because it is hot, and then hook it up in here and shoot it. If you screw it up and you touched it or you bumped it in here and it lost some of the powder, you can take it back out, reshoot it, and put it back in the oven again, and it will go ahead and hide that mistake and cover over it. But the easiest thing on cleaning things, to me, you can use muriatic acid or pool acid on many parts, and you can also sandblast them or bead blast them. But I always clean them up afterwards. I neutralize any acid. You can use vinegar, which is an acid, to clean apart, and then just use water or a dish soap such as Dawn and water, clean the part thoroughly, and then rinse it with water and use that prior to powder coating. This works really good. This is a cheap setup. It like say this $7 for this, and this cost me nothing on our move. And this rod was a 10-foot rod that I cut down. That was maybe $9 there. This wiring costs maybe 54 cents to on up to 60 cents or something per foot, so it's really cheap to use. And the gun itself, this kind of gun you can get on eBay. Sears no longer sells them. If you want to waste money, buy them from Speedway, because they'll cost you $100 there. Get them off eBay, and they're anywhere from $49 to about $60. But always be careful when you order them on eBay, because some of the sellers are selling broken guns that are good for parts only. And like say, the one that I had was broken on the handle here, and I did repair it using super glue and baking soda, and then I put that Gorilla wrap on it, and I do that now as the norm on them because that handle is the weak area to them. This gun has a common problem that there's a red locking pin that goes right here on them, right there where my thumb is, and that gets broken off really easily. I find I don't even have to use it. Some people will put tape right around where the cup hits the back part here. I don't even bother to do that. I just shoot it like this, and it works out really well. Again, if you have a couple of these at the end, they're really hard to lock in there. There's a little channel that they go through, and like I said, I got a couple of these particular grips off of eBay. I don't remember what I paid, just a couple of dollars for them, and I can put that on the round end and pull it around and lock it in place really, really easily. This entire setup works well for my truck. I have a new carburetor I'm going to put on here. I don't know if I'm going to powder coat anything more at all here, but I did powder coat on these lights, the little pieces that go in there. I have to rewire the wiring on this truck. So at the current moment, it's down for repairs. And I do have a tow bar that I use on it to push it in and out of here. Right now, the truck is sort of just gathering dust here, but the powder-coated parts will actually be on the steering column, the light box there at the bottom. It's one of the things. Also, on the steering column here, and you can see I haven't put my directional lights on yet. It's just laying loose there. But there will be a second column support here that I have powder coated, and that's so that when you get in and out, you're not pulling on the steering wheel that's mounted with a column support to the gas tank, and therefore you could cause a leak there. This second one that will go in here will be red, simply to change up things a little bit on the interior of this vehicle. Nonetheless, it's kind of raining outside here today in the neighborhood, so it's a little bit wet out here. And this is a messy garage at current, but the powder coating stuff really requires no space, and that's basically it.